Hi everyone. Okay, so in this episode I'm going to be covering The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 2 called The Well. Once again, going to make this short. If you haven't seen it by now, that's not my fault. I'm going to just kind of give a brief overview of what happened. We go ahead and find out that Carol and Morgan and the person did make it, and the people they were with did make it to what is known as the Kingdom. And first thing we get to see is basically Morgan pushing Carol in a wheelchair to go meet King Ezekiel, which we do get to see, and we also do get to see his tiger Shiva, and Carol is being her normal self in trying to be one way, and as soon as she gets out of the chambers where she is with Ezekiel and Shiva, she's talking to Morgan quite bluntly, saying that they're having playtime here and that the entire place is basically a circus. I can understand coming from her point of view. Morgan has been helping out. He's been doing apparently he's been doing things to kind of repay what they've been helping them with, and getting Carol back to health and other things like that. And Morgan actually also goes out on a run with the people from the Kingdom, and they capture, and actually King Ezekiel as well, and they capture some pigs that were feeding on walkers. And we get to find out why a little bit later. The reason being is because they're taking those swine, they're butchering them, and then they're giving them to the saviors, which Morgan has met before, or has at least heard of before, and talks to King Ezekiel about that just a little bit. And he asks Ezekiel, "Did you bring me out here because I can take them out?" And Ezekiel says, "No, quite the opposite," because he actually does show restraint. He actually also does ask Morgan to train. I'm sorry, I forget the other character's name right now. A boy that is really bad at apparently guns, has really bad at other weapons. So he's hoping that Morgan could teach him the staff, and kind of see if he can learn that at the very least. And Morgan does start teaching him. Just as we figured, Carol would try to run away at some point in time. When she's trying to run away, Ezekiel runs into her, and with also his right-hand man, and he sends his right-hand man away, and they kind of sit down and they have a talk. Now, Ezekiel tells her about his past, how he, what he was when he was, when the world was before the apocalypse, and then how he saved Shiva at one point in time, and then how after the apocalypse happened, he not only saved Shiva, but Shiva has kind of saved him on a number of times. And the people basically, the reason why he acts the way he does is because he puts on an act. And that's what the people want him to do, is to basically put on an act, and they kind of make stories up about him, etc., etc. She was still kind of gung-ho on leaving, and Ezekiel came up with an idea of, how about you go, but you don't go, all at the same time. At the very end of the episode, basically what's happened is she's moved into a house that is nearby the Kingdom, that is nearby the Kingdom, that she saw when they were heading towards the Kingdom, near the beginning of early in the episode. So that is a lot of stuff, and at the very end of the episode, Ezekiel offers Carol pomegranate, which is kind of a funny thing because earlier in the episode she said it's too much work for what it actually produces. So yeah, that's kind of the end of the episode, and pretty much the end of what we have here. Now I can go ahead and kind of give ideas as to what's going to happen from here. Obviously, somebody is going to have to talk to, kind of go back to Alexandria at some point in time. It might be Morgan, or somebody from Alexandria might actually kind of wander that way unknowingly. Perhaps maybe Rick when he goes out later, but that's in a different episode. So yeah, we'll go ahead and see what happens from here. But as for this, that's the end of the episode, and that's pretty much the review. I actually kind of liked the episode. It was a little bit boring at times, but you get to see how the kingdom functions and other things like that, which is actually kind of interesting for me. I have never read the comic books, so yeah. If I had to review this episode, I would say probably 7 out of 10. It did keep my interest. It was interesting to see Shiva and Ezekiel and other characters, but it was also kind of boring at some points sometimes. So with that, I'm going to end this. Hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.